Okay, so I've written down homework solutions at the top of this page just out of habit, but it's actually the classwork practice that I asked you to do yesterday on Monday. So I asked you to do some practice with quadratic patterns, which was a bit of a giveaway, and you had questions 10 and 11 on page 182. So looking at question 10 here, we were shown a repeating pattern of 1 centimetre square squares put together like this. So the patterns went 1 square, 4 squares, etc., etc., etc. And we were asked to fill into this table. And the first question was to say, so these were the pattern numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. And what was the area? So this was 1 by 1, giving us 1 centimetre squared, which was filled in for us. This is 2 by 2, and we can easily count them and see that there are 4 centimetres squared, 3 by 3, 9 centimetres squared, and 4 by 4, 16 centimetres squared. So hopefully everybody was able to do part A okay there. The next question in part B, we were asked to identify the type of pattern. And just to make it look the same as what we were doing in our notes, I'm just going to write the pattern out like this so we can look at the differences. So to go from 1 to 4, we add 3. From 4 to 9, we add 5. From 9 to 16, we add 7. So it's definitely not linear. We can see that. The first difference is not constant. However, if we look at the second difference, we can see that that is in fact constant, and we are adding the same thing every time here. So we would conclude that this is a quadratic pattern. And the reason for that answer is very straightforward, because the second difference is constant. So only quadratic patterns have a second difference that's constant. And if the second difference is constant, then it must be a quadratic pattern. Right, let's look at question 11. So it's a similar sort of setup, with pens this time, and I got a bit tired of drawing them as pens. So we've 1 pen starting off, and it doesn't make any squares. And in the second term, we now have 4 pens making up 1 square. For the third term, like this, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pens making up 2 squares. And the first thing we were asked to do was to draw pattern 4. So hopefully you could see what was happening here. Every time we're adding on 3 pens to make an additional square. So now this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pens making up 3 squares. And without even drawing it, we could probably work out that the 5th pattern would have 13 pens to make 4 squares. But if you needed to, you could of course draw out the 5th pattern as well. So we're adding 3 pens each time, so we don't double up the one in the middle, and that creates an extra square every time. We weren't asked to do anything else with this, but what we can see here is this in fact is a linear pattern in terms of the number of pens, and a linear pattern in terms of the number of squares. So that's just a little bit more practice with linear patterns as well. Okay, so hopefully everybody was able to attempt those. Do please let me know if you had any problems. Thank you.